From watching Monday Night Raw, we now know what 7-14-14 means. Welcome back, everyone. This is Jason. Yep, we got the promotional trailer showing Sting for the WWE 2K15 game, um, showing that he is confirmed officially for the game. Very excited about this. After how many years of buying the SmackDown games and the other wrestling games, and in some way, shape, or form, either downloading someone else or putting my own version of Sting in the game. Now, finally, Sting is a pre-order bonus. If you order the game now before it comes out, you got plenty of time. We got now till late October. You order it now. You get Sting, you get the 90s Sting, the Crow Sting, you also get the 80s blonde flat top Sting. 2 generations in one game. Very, very cool, very cool. So we now know at least that much as far as what's going on with Sting and his contract. There was an interview that was done that he had with some, news website, and he talked about it. And I'll get to that later. I'll stick with the game for now, but I'll go expand on what else we know as far as what he would like to do in the WWE. Nothing's been confirmed yet, though. But yeah, 2 versions of Sting in the game, and we also have now. You could call this a duh. Of course they're going to be in the game, but nonetheless, it's cool. It's confirmed. In Michael Cole's interview with Triple H, we also have confirmed from that interview, that conversation talking about Sting, that Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, probably a few versions of The Undertaker if I had to guess, and Triple H are definitely going to be in the game. One interesting little part of that, if you watch the interview from this week, when they're talking about Sting, Cole says, "I can't wait to see Triple H versus Sting." I played that back a few times, and just to see the reaction on Cole's face, A, it's funny as hell. B, it made me think about, other things regarding Sting's future, as far as what he may do in the WWE. But like I said, I'll get to that in a minute. I don't know if it was a little spoiler or what, but definitely felt like they were talking about something else there. Now, keeping with the game, I know I'm going all over the place here, I apologize. It's so exciting. Other names that have been confirmed. On Twitter today, a fan asked Rob Van Dam straight out, "Are you in 2K15?" And he said, "Yep." So there's another one. RVD is going to be in this year's 2K15 game. And another one from the interviews that they do after Raw, when they interviewed a few different groups of people about the announcement about Sting. They talked to excuse me, Kofi, Kofi was with Big E, and they were talking about it. They were also talking to Zack Ryder, and also started out the segment with Xavier Woods. He said, "I can't believe I'm going to be in the same game as Sting," or something to that effect. He's going to be in the game with Sting. So there you have it. Xavier Woods gave away he's going to be in WWE's 2K15 right there. So there's a nice little block of confirmed wrestlers for the game. Some you say, "Oh, it's a given," but nonetheless, it's great to know that they definitely are going to be in the game. Stone Cold, The Rock, some of my favorites. and like Triple H said, Sting versus Stone Cold, Sting versus The Rock, Sting versus The Undertaker. Great fantasy match there. That's people have been wanting for years now. Sting versus Triple H. Now, I know I should have brought this up when I was getting ready for this, but I didn't. So I'm going to try to talk through this. He had an interview with some British news publisher, and talked in depth about what his plans are. Now, of course, nothing is set in stone. Things can always change, but I'm going to throw just a few highlights from this interview, as soon as I find it, out there for you guys. Oh, come on, where did it go? I had it. But the interview, I'm not going to quote him exactly, said he wants to have an interview. He wants to have a match with The Undertaker. I'll find it on here. He didn't want to go through his career without doing this. We'll find it in a second. Bear with me. Here we go. Working with the WWE. Why now? It's a now or never thing. I've done so many things in a wrestling business, but the one thing I've never done was wrestle or be a part of the WWE family. I didn't want to hang it up and retire and disappear again without having done that in some capacity. Mentioning the Hall of Fame, obviously it would be a great honor to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. It's nothing that I would say no to, that's for sure. That's another thing. So, he wants to wrestle for the WWE. He sounds like he wants to be in the Hall of Fame if they asked him. I'm sure that's going to be a part of next year. Or, depending on what the contract they sign. He may be around for a few years and just do some part-time stuff. Who knows? We don't know. But this is all stuff that he's talking about he's willing to do. On the Ultimate Warrior, now I can look back and realize just how amazing it all was. It's remarkably, really, that both of us ended up taking it as far as we did. He goes on to talk about him wrestling The Undertaker. I've made it clear I'd love to have one last hurrah, one last big match, hopefully, and of course, it's been outspoken about Undertaker being the opponent. I know what happened at WrestleMania, where Brock Lesnar broke his streak. I think, or at least I'm hoping, that Undertaker's still going to come back, and that he's not done. If he's not done and he would consider doing it, I'd love to work with him one time. I'd love to wrestle him one time before I call it quits. Undertaker maintained a status in wrestling in the WWE that is second to none. He's a phenomenon. How about San Francisco 2015 in April? So, there you have it. He wants to wrestle The Undertaker. For years, people have been wanting him to do that. But now that also bears the question, what if Undertaker's not up for it? Then what? What are you going to do? You're just going to throw Sting in the Hall of Fame? I don't think Sting wants to go out like that. I think he wants to go out at least have one last match. He's in great shape. He's been taking care of himself. He's been in TNA. Now, of course, he's not physically fit as he used to be back in the 80s, for crying out loud, but, he's been taking care of himself. He's cleaned up. Not saying he was in bad shape, but I'm sure, everybody was messed. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but a good chunk of wrestlers were messed up in the 80s and 90s. But nonetheless, to what degree Sting was, I don't know. I'm sure that, he has some kind of, past. We all do. Not judging, just saying. So yeah, if he can't wrestle The Undertaker, if Undertaker's done and can't come back, who would you like to see Sting wrestle? Would you just be like, no, it's Undertaker or nothing else? Obviously, you don't want to see him wrestle Fandango or, Adam Rose or some other up-and-comer like that. That would be pointless. That would be embarrassing. You want it to be an icon versus an icon, or an icon versus at least a future legend. Who could he face? Throw some names out there. Well, like I said earlier in this video, Cole said, I can't wait to see Triple H versus Sting. Think about that. Triple H versus Sting. Say Sting comes back around Royal Rumble time, somewhere next year. Or even before that, who knows what they do with him. But just for a guess, let's say he shows up after the Royal Rumble next year. Or even at the Royal Rumble, just as a guest appearance, as a surprise, saying, hey, I'm back, And they automatically start into, the Authority, if there is still an Authority storyline. He shows up and the Authority's like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. Not like Triple H just said in the interview, he completely flips that conversation on its head and goes completely, bipolar with it or whatever. And, retracts all the positive things that he said about Sting in this interview. And just goes off on him like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. The typical Triple H Authority. Starting a feud that would build up slowly over the course of a few months or, over a few pay-per-views, maybe a couple pay-per-view matches. Maybe he only is going to do one more at WrestleMania. What if it's, the ultimate, the Authority versus Sting, Triple H versus Sting? That'd be pretty big. I would not mind seeing that. I think that'd be a great match for WrestleMania. Another great example of good versus evil. And make the stip if Sting wins, then the Authority goes away. Something to that effect. Something like that. Who else? It's been said that The Rock is not going to be available next year because he's going to be too busy promoting the next Fast and Furious movie. That's 7. Fast and Furious 7. So, but, that's a big but. What if The Rock was willing to do both? Show up for Raw and SmackDown and then just do more promoting wherever he has to be prior to the movie coming out. Because the WrestleMania I think is taking place right before the movie comes out. Hey, you know, he did it before. Why not do it again? Not knocking The Rock for doing it. I'm just saying, get him on WWE and WWE television, and he can come back. I just thought of something. What if? Think about this. What if The Rock comes back similar to how The Miz just came back? Comes back to promote his movie. He's the big Hollywood star. Kind of how he did when he beat Stone Cold and then faced off against Goldberg. Think about that. Rock comes back as a heel. Sting shows up to face off with him. The Rock versus Sting at WrestleMania. That could be pretty good. Last but not least, I'm going to throw one more name out there and see what you think about it. Love him or hate him. If Taker can't do it, John Cena. What if John Cena does it? If you put John Cena up against a guy like Sting, think about that for a second. Just think about it. I don't know, the Jeopardy theme is going through my head now as I'm, playing with it in my head. It's kind of funny. What match did we see? Now I'm going to forget which WrestleMania it was. 19? I think it was 19. I forget. Yeah, it had to be 19. Because the next one was 20. I can count. All right, I'll just spit it out. The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I would compare this match, John Cena versus Sting, to The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Think about it. You've got the WWE, WWF mainstay, The Rock. Skip ahead 10 years. John Cena. You've got the exiled WCW wrestler coming back for one last run. Hulk Hogan. Skip 10 years. Sting. The Rock versus Hogan. Cena versus Sting. I can see it. I can really see it. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And I don't think if that would happen, that would be like a heel turn for Sting, even though I know everybody being excited about Sting would be, or a heel turn for Cena, excuse me. Cena's going to get booed out of the building, depending on who he faces at this next WrestleMania. I just hope to God he's still not champ at that time. But anyways, no, he won't be. Trust me. But yeah, Triple H versus Sting, The Rock versus Sting, or Cena versus Sting, if Undertaker can't do it. Considering what happened to Undertaker, which we found out from Heyman, and I did that in one of my last videos, talking about Heyman talking about Punk. Undertaker came through the ropes, or not the ropes, excuse me, came through the curtain and collapsed. Didn't even make it through the second set of curtains. So, that's not a good sign, after his match with Brock, which was not that great of a match, but it was still, it is what it is. People are going to more remember the streak being broken than that. But nonetheless, You know, I'm gonna flat out be like, hey, I don't think Taker's gonna make it. You know, and if he doesn't, fine. You know, I seriously, how can you fault Taker for not coming back? Yeah, people want to see the match, the ultimate fantasy match of Sting versus Undertaker. But if it doesn't happen, are you going to hate him for it? No. Okay, well, if you do, and you're then you're an idiot. No, I'm not calling any of you idiots. I'm just saying, um, you, it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter. So, to conclude this section of the video, are you excited about Sting being in the game? I know that section got some, boos on the show. I'm not sure why. I think it was more because it was a 2K15 thing, and, people obviously didn't hear Michael Cole talking about it, so they saw the promo, and they were like, ooh, Sting's back. Oh, he's in the game, so he's not showing up. So I think that's what they were booing. Is he going to show up in the future? I'm sure they're going to do something with him. I'm sure they're going to be able to come to terms with him. Like Triple H said, never say never. Do what's best for business. And I think him coming back in some way, shape, or form to face someone huge from the company, whether it be Taker if he can do it, The Rock, Triple H, Super Cena, who knows? Who could, face Sting? Put it in the comments below, what do you think? Switching gears here, still talking about the game, but I want to just throw this in here because I thought it was really cool. Well, first of all, Adam Pearce, if you don't know him, he's very good. He's a very good wrestler. He's in the independents. He's been NWA champ. He was in Ring of Honor a few years ago. Back, I think, when they had their HD Net series going on, before they had their TV deal. Great wrestler. He was on Facebook yesterday, and I'm going to quote him. He said, come on. He said on Facebook, I'm proud of all the work I do, very proud. He posted this with the Sting promo that aired. That's on YouTube now. And I was like, well, that's interesting. What does that mean? Is he in the video somewhere and we just not seeing him? Because all I saw was an orchestra and Sting. So the next day, today, he said that he was doing a quick 30-minute Q&A, any topic, go. Just to sum up what he said, fire questions at him. So I was like, hey, I said to him, I said, I put in quotes, I'm proud of all the work I do, very proud. You posted this yesterday with the Sting 2K15 promo. What did you mean by that? And he replied, exactly what I said. I'm assuming that you don't know what I do in those games. And I said, oh, it hit me like a brick. I was like, oh, do you do the motion tech stuff? I couldn't remember what it was called. The motion tech stuff. Sorry, I know that's another question. Much props to you, dude, if that's what you mean. And then someone else chimed in the conversation and said, if I'm not mistaken, Adam does a lot of the real life movements in which they use the gameplay. I'm not sure what they call this, but I believe I read something about this before I bought 2K14 for my son. Adam chimed back in on the conversation. Adam Pearce said, motion capture specialist. And I said, thanks for the reply. Awesome. So, apparently, I don't know who all worked on it. There had been some pictures that had been released of Cesaro and Paul Heyman with the motion balls on their person, whatever the special suits they put on. So now we know that apparently Adam Pearce also had a part in helping make this game, doing the moves and whatnot in some capacity. So thank you, Adam Pearce, for having the conversation with me. Thought it was very cool that you take the time to talk to your fans. and thanks for contributing to a video game that us wrestling fans love. So that's it in a nutshell. Sting's back for the game. You get 2 pre-order characters, an 80s Sting and a 90s Sting. You got Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, and the Triple H, and RVD and Xavier Woods in the game confirmed. So awesome. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.